Hello everyone! Today I'll be talking about Unit 7, Module 2, The Immigrant. First, I'll be talking about the history of comic books. Comic books began as a compilation of comic strips from newspapers in 1897. Eventually, the first comic book with an original story emerged in 1935. The golden age of comic books began in 1938 with the appearance of Superman in Action's Comic Number 1, and Batman came out in 1939 in Detective Comics number 27. Popular superhero comic book heroes emerged after that, such as Captain America, The Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. According to Jesse Kowalski, the curator of exhibitions at the Norman Rockwell Museum, the American public became alarmed at the influence that comic books had on their youth because of a book written by Frederick Wertham titled Seduction of the Innocent. This alarmed the members of the U.S. Congress. In order to stem the backlash against comic books, the comic book industry created an institution to police its ranks, which they called the Comics Code Authority, whose rules included the edict that all comic books should show good triumphing over evil and portray crimes as sordid and unpleasant activity. This entire period was called the Silver Age of Comics. The Bronze Age of comic books came in 1970s, where the Comics Code Authority relaxed some of its rules. During this time, comic books became darker and more socially conscious. They endeavored to create more diverse superheroes. The Dark Age emerged from 1985 to 1996, so-called because anti-heroes became the rage. From this age, we find the emergence of Watchmen and The Dark Knight's Returns. The modern age of comic books from 1996 to present day, the rise of comic book films were off to a shaky start with the Batman movies in 1990s. Nowadays, comic book movies make significant amount of money in the box office and has considerable influence in the American pop culture. What do you know about World War II? Personally, I don't know anything. All I know about is that um, Nazis, war, Adolf Hitler, something about the Holocaust. A lot of people were killed. Yes. What do you know about the Holocaust? So the Holocaust is like a, a genocide where a lot of Jews were killed at the hands of the Nazis. They were killed through concentration camps, experiments. Why are there crimes against society? There are crimes against society. This could possibly be from the unfair systems in society. What I mean by unfair systems is that the rich people get better treatment than the poor people. So, you know what the poor people will do? They will like try to steal from the rich people. Of course, they have a reason, but this is still unfair, right? So they say like, oh, it's unfair. Like, I also want to be like them. But instead of trying hard to like earn that type of living, they instead steal. Or this could also be in a way that one country is better. So the other country will say, oh, what if we wage a war against that country and like get the things from them and become richer ourselves? comic books. These are stories told through pictures, often combined with words. The Holocaust. This is a very large amount of destruction caused by fire or heat, or the killing of a very large number of homosexuality. This is the characteristics of being attracted to a person who is the same as your gender. So now I'll be talking about The Amazing Adventures of Kavalier in Clay by Michael Chabon. The Amazing Adventure of Kavalier in Clay is a novel about magic, manhood, superheroes, and growing up Jewish in America in 1930s to 1940s. Sammy Clayman is a young man from Brooklyn with a love for pulp fiction and comic books, and is struggling with his sexual identity. Yusuf Kavalier is an apprentice magician and an artist who escapes Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia by hiding in a coffin along with the Golem of Prague. The novel traces the two cousins from 1939 to 1954 as they break into publishing and confront love, war, and loss. Yusuf Kavalier has just arrived in New York City after escaping Nazi-occupied Prague. He hopes that his cousin Sammy Clayman can help him find a job because he needs money to free his family. In trying to leave Czechoslovakia, Yusuf is sent back to Prague on a paperwork technicality. Too ashamed to face his family, he asks his former mentor Bernhard Kornblum for help. Kornblum agrees so long as Yusuf will go by way of Lithuania. It is 1935, and 14 years old Yusuf attempts a dangerous escape fit that results in his near drowning and that of his younger brother, Thomas. Thereafter, Kornblum ceases his escape artist instruction to Yusuf. Kornblum and Yusuf find where the golem has been hidden and prepare it for travel disguised as a corpse of a giant. Sammy and Yusuf pick grown-up American names, Sam Clay and Joe Kavalier. Inspired by Joe's artistic skill, Sammy patches a comic book idea to his boss, Sheldon Anapol, who reluctantly accepts it. Joe and Sammy started planning right away. Julie takes them to his brother's apartment to work. Sammy remembers his father, the Mighty Molecule, a traveling circus performer. 4 years ago, Sammy hoped to travel with his father, but the Molecule left home without Sammy. When no one answers the door, Joe broke into Jerry's apartment and surprises a beautiful sleeping woman who runs out of the door, crying. Sammy searches through her forgotten satchel. Her name is Rosa Luxemburg Sachs. Sammy settles in and Joe tells him about his training as an escape artist. Sammy in turn tells Joe about his father, the world's strongest Jew. This chapter tells the history of Tom Mayflower, also known as the Escapist, and provides the Escapist's inaugural story in Amazing Midget Radio Comics. Sammy declares that they are going to be very successful when this hero and Joe's family will be freed with the money they make. Julie's brother Jerry returns home with his friends. Sammy talks about their comic project, and the other guys are also involved in the development process. Joe draws an epic and violent cover of The Escapist beating up Adolf Hitler. Before they went back to bed early Monday morning, Joe told Sammy that he wanted to see Rosa again. Sammy and Joe delivered their comics to Anapol. He calls Ashkenazi and Daisy to consult, and they make Joe and Sammy a ridiculously low offer. Sammy tries to bargain with them, but the cover is the deal. Anapol is uncomfortable with such political cover, but Joe says that they must use this cover or the deal will be cancelled. Anapol tries to offer more money as cover for Hitler, and Joe and Sammy walked out of his office. It was October 1940, a year later. The escapist is successful and Anapol and Ashkenazi earn an income 10 times than that of Sammy and Joe. Later, Warrant Officer Medley tells Joe that his father died of pneumonia. Shocked and angry, Joe boards a train to Canada so he can join the Royal Air Force and fight the Germans. But he realizes he still has family that needs help, and he returns to Albany. Joe burst into an office calling it the Aryan American Federation. Ebling, the owner, turned around and Joe said he was Tom Mayford. When everyone returned, Joe's love and Anna Paul were talking about doing an escapist radio play. Daisy advises Joe and Sammy on how to bargain for a piece of the radio play. Daisy takes them to a party for Salvador Dali shown by Longman Harco. After Daisy introduces them to Harco, the host takes the young men around the room. Eventually, they come to Rosa Luxemburg Sachs, Harco's daughter. Joe wrenches the knot free with the penknife Thomas gave him and becomes the hero of the party. Rosa's room is messy and moths are everywhere. They talk about art for a while before Rosa knocks Joe over and kisses him. Sammy shows up at the moment and says he's leaving. He didn't tell them, but he felt nervous when he caught two men kissing in the kitchen pantry. Rosa forces Joe to hunt down his cousin. Joe and Rosa plan to meet the next day at the agency where she volunteers to save Jewish children in Europe. After the office of the Transatlantic Rescue Administration, Joe convinces the owner, Herman Hoffman, to take Thomas aboard his ship by paying Thomas and several other children. Excited, Joe organizes dinner with Rosa. As he left the TRA office and crossed Union Square, Joe saw a large iridescent blue butterfly on a tree trunk. Where is the setting of the novel? What is its significance? So the setting of the novel is in New York City, and its significance is that Sammy and Joe were able to face their American dream through creating comics. How did Joe escape Prague? How is it symbolic? So Joe escaped Prague through hiding inside a golem, a corpse of a giant. It is symbolic because hiding inside a coffin means life or death. It is life if he was able to escape the war, which he did. And it is death if he was caught by the Nazis. So what does the novel reveal about the process of making comics? So Sammy is the one who writes the script while the others draw or ink. Joe was the one who paints a beautiful and violent cover of The Escapist punching out Adolf Hitler. So this comic, The Escapist, is to show justice to the people who are experiencing the war. They're like, the hero comes in and then punches Adolf Hitler, telling him like this and that, what you're doing is bad. And what other people felt is like, oh, I have like a sense of relief from what the hero did. It's kind of like justice to them. What did you think of the way homosexuality was discussed in the novel? So, homosexuality in the novel was not that open. It's like Sammy like shows that he wants, at the same time not. And that At that time, it's like taboo in the society. Like, if someone is seen holding another person's hand, they'll think like, oh, what is that? Or like, you know, what does the novel tell us about love? So, it tells us that love is not perfect and that our preferences affect others in some way, even if they should not be minding our business. Like how Sammy wants to he's a homosexual, but he couldn't be open about it because it is condemned in the society, and that he have to mask it by marrying Rosa and to take care of the baby so that no one will know that he is a person who likes the same gender as him. So number one, what attitude does the novel have when it comes to homosexuality? A. It condones homosexuality. Letter B. It condemns homosexuality. Letter C. It is sympathetic towards homosexuality. Letter D. It considers homosexuality relationship to be good. Letter B. It condemns homosexuality. What is Joe's central frustration? Letter A. He could not save his family. Letter B. He does not have enough money. Letter C. He was not as successful as he wanted to be. Letter D. The escapism was not the most popular comic book. Letter A. He could not save his family. Why did Sammy marry Rosa? Letter A. He loved Rosa. B. He wanted to hide the fact that he was homosexual. Letter C. He wanted to take care of Rosa and the baby. Letter D. All of the above. He wanted to hide the fact that he was a homosexual. What did the comic book symbolize in the novel? A. Escape. B. Justice. C. Creation. And D. Immortality. It represents justice. How would you describe Joe's immigrant experience? A. He is able to find justice for his relatives in Prague. Letter B. He is able to smoothly assimilate into American life. Letter C. He is able to realize the American dream and become successful. Letter D. He feels survivor's guilt and feels remorseful about the people he left behind. Letter C. He is able to realize the American dream and become successful.